Welcome back to Inspired or Acquired. This is the podcast where we interview real owners, talk real numbers, and ask them whether or not they would sell their business. We are joined by a juggernaut today. Sam Allsopp is out of West Palm, Florida, and he has quickly built up a pretty amazing roofing and waterproofing business that you're going to hear all about. And I'm excited to dig in with him today. So I'm your co-host, Patrick Dichter from Apple Tree Business Services. And our other host, Clint Fiore, is on the road today. So it's going to be a good one, though. So, Sam, how are you, man? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, for people who don't know who you are, tell us, the quick 1 or 2 minute background of, what you do and who your customers are and a little about your business.
Yeah, I own a roofing company in South Florida, West Palm Beach, our headquarters. We started in 2020, we incorporated in 2019, but I had a couple other things going and we I wouldn't say I was all in until mid 2020. And we go direct to consumer. So we're, for people that are familiar with the roofing space, we're what they call retail. That's our, mix. And we're residential. So we do a little bit of commercial. We're getting into multifamily. Some large commercial, but our bread and butter has been direct to consumer residential re-roofs. We have a repair division as well, but it's 5 to 10% of our revenue.
Okay, awesome. So started it in 2020, and waterproofing. Did you start out doing that as well?
So the waterproofing is funny. We do a little bit of waterproofing when we. My partner and I named the business. It was what we thought was going to be a way bigger part of the business. But to be honest, it's a very, very small part, or we're just stuck with the name. And honestly, I think it probably helped us. I think that, our target market, the consumer may not necessarily know what waterproofing is, but they're getting their roof done and there's waterproofing in the name. It's pretty relevant what they're trying to accomplish. So it's worked out for us. But
nice.
To actually do waterproofing, I mean, we haven't done a whole lot of it.
So your background before this was marketing, right? You weren't just trying to keyword stuff your business name?
No. So it's a funny story. My partner just had the LLC made. He was working for another company. Hey, do you want to team up on this thing? You do the marketing, I'll do the production.
Yeah.
LLC is made. We'll write an operating agreement and get going. From a marketing standpoint, it's awesome. Neal Roofing, right? Like it's my partner's last name. It's family owned, truly family owned. And I think people resonate with that. It's posted Wolverine Roofing. I just made that up. Sorry if you're called Wolverine Roofing, but, it's been good. And you're right. Yeah. My background is marketing, and sales. I owned a gym, did online personal training for a little bit. And then started doing lead generation for home service companies, not even specifically roofing, but that's where the traction started to pick up. So I kind of, went all out with the roofing companies. And so man, this is, these guys don't bat an eye when I tell them what their monthly retainers are. I'm sitting there trying to convince like a gym owner to give me $1,000 a month to run his ads. And it's like, it's like pulling teeth. And then I'd go talk to these roofers and they were like, yep, cool. Where do I sign? Let's do it. So I'm like, all right, these guys are making money. This is a good niche to be in. That's kind of how it all started.
And it was really just thinking, okay, they're making money. How hard could it be? Or is there any other
I'll even go back a little bit more. I mean, I was running the ads for I call it 15 roofers. I don't know. There's obviously turnover and call it 15 roofers. One of the guys that I was running ads for, my current business partner was working at. He's kind of the owner's he worked there for like a year or two, kind of his right-hand man. It was a small residential roofing company in Jupiter. And I had been thinking like, hey, I'm kind of consulting these guys on like sales process because I'm generating leads, right? Man, they'll keep paying me unless they close the leads and make money.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, now I got to help them. They're like, where are my leads going? So I'm like, okay, well, now I need to kind of help you get them plugged into your CRM. What CRM should I use? What's like a good sales process, right? So I started kind of consulting on that side. And the more that I got to know them and understand the business model, I was like, I think I've got a pretty decent advantage here if I can generate leads and I kind of understand the tech stack to be a little bit ahead of the game here. And I'm familiar with sales. And that's a lot of it, right? If you can start getting the jobs through, you got a company, obviously you got to fill it, do a good job. But I was pretty confident in my ability to get in there and start something. And then when Andrew was like, "Hey man, I'm going to leave this company. I'm looking to, start one. Would you be interested in doing something together?" I was like, "Hurt."
Ah, okay. So that got it. So he was kind of like had the industry experience, had the ops side.
Yeah, he had a roofing license. He'd been doing it for a couple of years. And yeah, I say this all the time. I'm like, he's the roofer. I'll even joke, like if they're going back and forth on different types of systems and this and that, like I'm like, I don't even want that in my brain. Like I need to focus on the sales and marketing side of stuff. I don't even need that information. You guys handle that. It's been a great partnership. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about where you guys are. You're closing in on 5 years in this journey. What sort of revenue did you do last year and EBITDA, and where are you at for this year?
Yeah, I had my, I was telling you before we started, I had my controller send me everything so that I'm on point here. Last year 2024, we ended at 5 million in EBITDA, just under. Revenue was looks like right under 28. And our year to date revenue is 28.5 million. So we're already kind of coming up, if not past, but what last year was. We got a few more months. We always build a lot in the last part of the year. Kind of rain slows down a little bit. Right now is like terrible for building in South Florida. It's literally raining behind me, but it's good for sales. So backlog will start stacking up. So we had a strong, year end last year. We're kind of planning on doing that again, but yeah, our TTM is 43.5 right now. Around a little over 7 million in EBITDA.
That is bananas. All right. Let me recap that. Year 4 last year, 28 million in revenue, 5 million of EBITDA. And your trailing 12 months is 43 million of revenue and 7.5 of EBITDA.
7.4-ish. Yeah.
7.4. That's incredible, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the crux of the show, right? If you were to go to market today and sell this thing, I would bet that it would probably sell between anywhere from 7 to maybe 10 times, right? So let's call it conservatively an 8x on 7 million. It's roughly 56 million, right? So somewhere between 45, 60 million, 5 years in. Are you selling this puppy, or what are you doing?
That's the $50 million question, right? No, not right now. So roofing's hot, right? Home services is hot, just in general. Yeah. Started with I could be wrong, right? In my mind, it started kind of with HVAC. They were doing landscaping, and then a couple of years ago is the first time that I heard that roofing companies were getting bought by private equity, and since then it's really taken off. We're approached left and right. It's mostly like automated email sequences. I don't have people, necessarily calling my phone, but we've had some good conversations with some people looking to do a platform. And I don't write it off. I think that that's kind of the next stage in business. And I think at some point, it makes sense to bring on a partner. I'm pretty, confident and optimistic in what we've built. And I have seen some add-ons right around me in my market, and a couple of guys that I know that have sold. And I'm a little hesitant, I think, to be any sort of add-on. If I was going to do something, it would be the platform. I'd want to roll a bunch of equity. I still really believe in what we've done, and I'd like to be able to kind of have more control of the outcome and say for our employees and kind of what we built, because that's they're the reason that we're here right now. So
totally.
Yeah, long-winded answer to not right now. I mean, we're growing so much every single month that where else can you create that much enterprise value? We've got momentum, right? So I'll probably know when it's time, but as of now, we're happy.
Hey guys, we want to take a quick break from the show just to tell you about our companies that make this happen. My name is Patrick Dichter, and I own Apple Tree Business Services. We do accounting and tax nationwide. So if you own a small to medium-sized business, we'd love to help. And we can also do financial due diligence for any acquisitions. You can check us out at appletreebusiness.com.
And speaking of acquisitions, this is Clint, your co-host. My company is called Dealonomy. You can find us at dealonomy.com. We are on a mission to just make it 10 times easier to buy or sell a small business. If you're a buyer, you probably feel like finding a good business to buy is like searching for a needle in a haystack. We have created the Needle Store, where you can just go find a great business that's turnkey, ready to purchase, with banks ready to lend on it. Go find you a good one. Go buy it at dealonomy.com. And if you're a seller, we're the only place you can sell your business for no commission with a fast, free, guaranteed result. And so it's very innovative, easy button for buying or selling a business. Hope you join us at dealonomy.com.
All right. Thanks for supporting us. Now back to the show. No for now, but if you were to debate it, maybe it's platform versus tuck-in. Tell me what you mean there, like how you interpret that.
I interpret that as like an add-on or a tuck-in, sort of being, hey, there's already a platform. They've got the way that they want to run the business. Maybe they bought their platform for, let's say it's even mid-teens, right? That's what we've been seeing. All right, now our strategy is buy a bunch of companies for 5 to 9 times, right? Kind of do that multiple arbitrage, and then also push organic growth through. They kind of hold everything at the at HQ, business services, whether that's their marketing or all the different, right? And then the brands sort of operate independently under the parent company. So I look at that just as kind of I'm getting into something that's already going, maybe going to be a lot of change. I think we've got the secret sauce. So when I say platform, I look to kind of be the first company, right? Kind of the company that the organization is modeled off of, and then we go run M&A and greenfield, under us. So,
for somebody who doesn't want to sell, you sure speak private equity pretty well. So,
I've like got an obsessive. I mean, right when I heard that this is going on, I mean, I went. It's funny. I went and took like an online private equity course from like I don't even know some whatever it was. Or not. I got a crash course, and I just try to talk to as many people as I can to understand it. I mean, I'm young. I'm only going to probably, this will be the first time that I do this. I'm going to do it right. So I want to kind of know what's going on.
That's awesome, man. Respect. So the people that you've heard of selling nearby, what are some of the multiples you're seeing on the market?
I saw them go for 9 times in my backyard. I know him personally. He fully sold, right? So like, there's so many nuances to like, yes, you got this big multiple, but how much did you roll? Like, what was it structured like? But he got 9 times and he was free and clear and he's out. And that's been cool, right? That's what he wanted to do, and he's happy. He's a little bit older than I am, so I think it was just kind of time for him. And then I've seen companies around like the 6 times, just a different strategy from that platform, right? That's a totally different strategy, and then how they're going and doing their M&A process. So,
Read it. All right, let's talk about your ops a little bit. So, how many team members do you guys have now?
I don't have the exact number. Last time I looked, it was like low 40s. That includes sales, business services, production.
You're doing your own installs, or you sub it out?
A little bit of both. I mean, mostly sub. That's kind of just where the market's landed in Florida.
Yeah.
So we're subcon. It allows us a lot of. We can kind of move stuff around there. We're locked to, X amount of overhead. It allows us to be a little bit more nimble, and it's been awesome for growth. We're doubling year over year. We won't this year. It's getting harder as we get bigger, but in order to do that, I mean, we kind of had to be able to be flexible.
Yep, makes sense. What's your average ticket for a new customer?
It's $32,000 for re-roofs. I'm a little funky on like how I look at. Obviously, if I included repairs, it would blend that down a pretty good amount. But I'm pretty focused on re-roof numbers, and it's 32,000.
32. Okay. And typical margin, is this like your 40%? gross
Yeah, I
margin
mean,
after total subs?
shoot for, right? But we'll anywhere from 30 to 40%. I mean, sometimes we'll get these big ticket, huge tile roofs, and we can stomach, making a little bit less of a margin. And it's also just kind of how the market is adapted down here. Like the higher ticket stuff, the competition's usually bidding a little bit lower.
Yeah.
We're definitely not the cheapest. We're not like the middle of the road either. We're a little on the higher end. There's still companies that are way higher than us. We're not the highest, but it's kind of a sweet spot that we've found. And we've been able to grow as fast as we have been able to grow, provide, all the employment opportunity for people, and then also, make enough money to stay in business and honor our warranty. So
Nice.
for us,
That's huge. And then you're dipping into multifamily and commercial. I saw Will, I forget his last name, with an HVAC business in Florida. He's like, I'm never touching commercial again. It's a nightmare. Why take on commercial stuff?
I mean, I could go on and on. So there's a sweet spot. We love multifamily. And when I say multifamily, think of like a big townhome community, right? So like, 4 or 5 townhomes connected. It's a community, and there's like 100 of those buildings, right? We've done a couple of those. That's awesome, right? So it's large ticket. Logistically, it's pretty simple. And you're dealing with like the HOA or a property management company or something like that. Where commercial sometimes gets its bad rep is if you're dealing with like a GC whose business model is to push out, accounts payable as far as they can. And right, that's their business model, and that's how they run. And I think that a lot of like smaller roofers or people that aren't really, or any home service company that aren't ready for that and don't understand kind of that cash conversion, that cycle, like they might get pinned, right? And it could really, really hurt your company if you're sitting there fronting all your labor and material and you're waiting to get paid. So I think that's why big commercial sometimes gets a bad rep.
Okay, so you're typically not dealing with a GC. You're like dealing with...
We're starting to dip our toes. We're doing some work for some GCs, some larger projects, but it's taken us 5 years to get to the point where we're like, all right, we're comfortable taking something like this on. And we've also, I've got a, full-time finance team, right? So we've got our lines of credit set up if we ever need it. We've never used it, but if we need it. So we're just in a way better place to take on a little bit more risk, as long as it's not over 20% of our business.
All right. Sounds good. Let's talk about your triple black belt that you have in marketing, because just following you online, I know you're just a badass in marketing. What does it take for you to acquire this $32,000 average ticket?
I try to be around like 2,000, like my cost per acquisition, try to keep like 2,000. I'll stretch it up. At this point, it feels like we're buying like additional market share. There was a sweet spot, right? I don't remember off the top of my head where it was, but it felt like we were just printing money. Like we could, not very many companies were advertising in the roofing space. We were spending $50, $100 for a lead and getting a $32,000 re-roof. Insane, right? That was like early years Facebook ads. But, these days you've got private equity coming in the space. You've got roofing companies that are, they're having to adapt and get a little bit more sophisticated and start bringing on a marketing team, and it's more competitive. So as long as my marketing spend doesn't go over like 10% of my revenue, I know I'm in a pretty good spot, and I'll keep spending to get more and more market share, because you kind of hit this flywheel where you got more trucks on the road, people are seeing you, you're starting to get more referrals, so it kind of blends that percent down.
Got it.
Doing that.
That's funny you say that, because I feel that way in accounting right now. I'm like, no one else is taking advertising and marketing seriously, and I'm like, if this changes, it'll be like what you said, where like you used to pay about 1/10 or maybe 1/20 of the way you pay now for your customer acquisition costs.
And I don't know, right? Like if I was starting today, maybe that's just because I only needed a few leads, right? Like I had one sales guy and myself and my partner selling. So like, I'm not here to say like it has gotten that much more expensive, though, compared to where we are now and like the scale that we're trying to reach. And I feel like we're having to spend a little bit more to get more market share.
Are you willing to share like what channels you're going into? Like if we have this marketing pie, like it's, 10% of revenue or less, like what channels and tactics are you deploying?
Yeah, I mean, any like the big ones, right? Like we're running Google PPC, LSA, we're running Facebook ads, we're doing Angie's, we're doing Thumbtack, and then we're also like pretty close with a bunch of like lead aggregators, I guess you could call them. So people that run their own campaigns and shoot leads into our system.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to go through every single one, I think we're around like 20 plus different channels where leads will come through. We also run TV. We do the traditional stuff. I've got a big TV budget. We have billboards. We do postcards. So we're really doing everything.
Nice. And given your background, you mainly like manage that in-house, the digital, or you have agencies?
So I did it myself for as long as I could. And then we kind of shuffled through a few agencies. My expectations were just obviously like very high. And I kind of knew like where things should be. So we weren't a great fit for like the general marketing agencies that I think a lot of roofers are using. They're more like set and forget, and they'll kind of do the bare minimum. So we brought in I've got a CMO now. So I've got a guy in-house that's just his full-time job.
Got it. How many salespeople do you have?
I can tell you exactly. I want to say 12 right now.
Okay. Your trailing 12-month revenue is 47 million. If we're
trailing 12 months, 43.
43, excuse me. So 7 was EBITDA. If we were to look at like the future 3 to 5 years out, like where do you want to see this thing go?
I've got the vanity 100 million in my head, right? It's the number that everyone picks when they're, how big do you want to get? 100 million. So like I have that there. So it's something to go after, and so that we don't get complacent. It's going to take some greenfield to get there. We've already opened up in a new market in Tampa. That's great.
Explain that, because you feel like you're getting diminishing returns in your main market.
Not necessarily. We have not. I wouldn't say diminishing. A little bit, right? Like we were just talking about how marketing spend kind of is going up a little bit, but we're still growing like crazy. I mean, we're, from 30 to hopefully 45 to 50, right? This year, and that's mostly in our current market. But that does include a little bit of Tampa. But really just because
why is it going to Tampa then?
I make another one of these over in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville. Like then, I know what I can do, and I know I can get a company from zero to where we're at now, right? So it's kind of just like future proofing and trying to do what I know that what I'm comfortable with, which is getting a company from zero to where we're at in a different way.
So I don't know Florida like geography that well, but how far is the drive from West Palm to Tampa?
4 hours, I want to say 3.5.
Okay, you're not having employees like cover both markets. It's like new staff, new office, new trucks. Like,
correct. Yeah, I mean we're not. Yeah, there's no shared labor or superintendents or salespeople. Like it is its own separate office, and I mean that's a good point, right? Like a lot of people may kind of blame it's kind of gray area, like if it's a satellite or if it's a greenfield. And we've been able to expand our geography. Like we've been able to go up to Port St. Lucie, if you're familiar with South Florida, all the way down to Miami out of our West Palm office. It's not the most efficient thing in the world. We're looking to open up an office up in PSL and one down in Aventura. But we've been able to like dip our toe in and start to get proof of concept. So that's the cool thing about greenfielding, right? Like we know that we did that here. Let's go open up at Tampa, and then we can kind of maybe slide down to Naples and then slide up to, I'm not as familiar with the geography over there, but cover a similar, geographic range.
Yeah. Have you followed what Chris Hoffman has said about like their greenfielding marketing spend?
The guy's a genius. I don't know off the top of my head what he says about that. I respect the guy.
But I just remember, he's a big HVAC guy in St. Louis, and then they opened up Nashville. And I think he said something like they plowed like $1 million into marketing the first year just to like get the branding and awareness out there. And, I'm just like, that is crazy. Huge. That also huge conviction that this is going to work, or that they didn't dip their toe in the pool. They just cranked it to 12 and they're like, okay, let's go dominate Nashville. It's wild.
No, it's cool. I mean, we're putting that playbook together now, right, on a way smaller scale. I think this greenfield will do 5 to 10 probably in its first year, top line. So, I mean, it's taking a little bit to break even just because we got to build the jobs before we can, recognize revenue. But that's like market dominant, like $1 million into a new market. That's way more than what we're doing. So I'd be interested to see like what his greenfields do year one in revenue. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So back on your big hairy audacious goal, 100 million maybe within 3 to 5 years. So that would be West Palm, Tampa, any other kind of major markets?
Yeah, I mean, I like West Palm. I like Tampa. I like Miami. It's a little bit harder. The production's difficult down there. I like Orlando a lot. A lot of shingle up there. Quick, faster turnover than we're used to down here. And then I just look at like Jacksonville is a big city. Pensacola, if we want to get up in the Panhandle. But we'll see, right? It all depends on kind of what traction we get at these greenfields and how much resources that takes.
So if you were at 100 million top line, what do you think the EBITDA margin would be? Like 12, 15% or?
Yeah, I would say that there's, I don't know what I don't know. I haven't done that before, but I would assume that, we're not going to make these 20% margins if we're, reinvesting into new markets and whatnot. It's going to take a little bit longer to see that, that return is going to compress margins a little bit if we're growing that fast. But yeah, I'd say like 15% would be a good target.
Okay. Let's say you're at 15%, 15 million EBITDA. What does the PE company need to dangle in front of you to say, all right, you're going to be the platform and you're like, okay, I'm going to take some chips off the table. Is this now it's a 14x that they need to offer you, or who knows?
Yeah. I mean, definitely like mid as of now, right? That's kind of what where the market's at. I can think of 3 or 4 comps that got a multiple like that, and I think why not us, right? So it sounds crazy saying out loud, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would have laughed at someone saying that they're going to get double-digit, multiples for their roofing company, but
yeah,
we are.
So they roll out the Brinks truck. And they're like, all right, 200 million or 220 between the two of you. Obviously, you got to roll some equity, but let's just say you both, walk away with 50 to 60 million or something after taxes. And then maybe have another bite of the apple if the PE playbook works.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd get if we're aligned with the PE company. I mean, I hope that they would want us to stay super involved because that's what I want. I would continue to take a big bet as long as I believe in, what the PE company is kind of what I think that they would assist a lot with M&A. That's something I've never done. Would love to get involved and learn more about it. But, if they've got a good M&A playbook and, they've taken some companies from where we're at to where they say we can go, and I believe in it. Like, I know that we can go and execute. So I would plan on rolling a decent amount into that platform.
Do you know of any companies that are still privately held that are 100 million?
It's usually like commercial. Commercial companies are typically, but as for residential, privately held, all retail, right? Like there's probably some insurance ones out there. I can't think of one off the top of my head. That doesn't mean that they're out there, but I can't think of the $100 million retail roofing company that's still privately owned.
Got it. You guys are carrying the torch for everybody.
Yeah.
What do you think
out there? And I'd love to speak to them. But yeah, not that I know of.
What do you think the bottlenecks will be for you in the next few years as you try to go to 40, 50, 60, 70?
I mean, like this year's been a year of so like, when you start, you're wearing all the hats and then you have to start handing the hats out to people. And I got to make sure now that the hats don't fall off their heads. Right. So they continue to wear the hats. This year's been a lot of that, like even up to what we finished last year at, I was still very involved with the sales, hopping into sales meetings, marketing, hey, this thing broke. We need to build out a new process for this because this doesn't work anymore. This year's been a lot of kind of relying on my leadership team and trying to help guide them and make them feel empowered to kind of make those decisions and make those improvements. So I say all that because I assume it's going to just continue to be more of that, right? More kind of leadership development, putting the right people in the right places and holding them accountable.
Awesome, man. Are you using any like frameworks? Are you guys using EOS or Traction or anything like that? Or what's your leadership style look like?
We actually don't. I mean, I've met with a couple of Traction guys. I've read the book. Like I do like it. What we're doing is working. And so I've just kind of stuck with it. Like we've got a lot of people that have been in the roofing industry for a long time. We used to really hype ourselves up on like, hey, we use technology. Like we understand technology. We can set up automation to alert people when their tile is getting delivered, right? So if someone's sitting there and texting and forgetting to do it, that's getting more kind of common. That's kind of like what I would assume table stakes to be $100 million company.
So what's the leadership team look like now? You have a CMO, you have a controller.
Yeah, I've got a regional president. I have GMs. I have a regional controller. I have a sales director. I have a CMO. I have operations managers, production managers, heads of departments.
What about recruiting? Do you have somebody that does recruiting full time or?
We work with a couple recruiting companies. Used to be like go on LinkedIn and start messaging people like myself.
Yes.
I think that probably rubbed people the wrong way. So I don't know if that was the best way to do it. So we'll use like recruiting companies for kind of the more high level positions that we're hiring for. But if it's sales, we've had a really good luck with like Indeed. If it's like more office staff, LinkedIn has been pretty good for us. Just job postings.
Yeah. And what about subs? Do you keep a big bench or are they coming to you or?
Yeah. I mean, the way that it works, technically there's subcontractors. They can they're running their own business. They have their, own license and insurance and whatnot. But like if we treat them well and we give them a lot of work, they enjoy working for us. Right. So, I mean, we obviously have to step in and kind of be a big brother and, we're big on safety and process and how they, we can only go so far in terms of like how we tell them to run their business, but to as much as we can, we make sure that they're holding the same exact standards that we would. And that's the cool thing about subbing, right? Like if a crew goes in and just isn't up to par, we'll go, find another one.
Cool. And outside business, what's life look like? You're engaged, right?
I'm engaged. Yeah. I'm getting married in February, early February.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're going to be able to unplug and take your number or something?
Yeah, definitely. Given the whole wedding setup was kind of step one. Now we're starting to think through honeymoon and whatnot, but we might do, it's like a mini moons are like becoming popular. So maybe we just go do something quick and then plan, the honeymoon. But yeah, looking forward to that. I just moved. I was in West Palm. We moved over to a little bit up north. So got our 2 dogs and we're enjoying where we're at.
Awesome, man. That's great. The last question I want to ask was just the growth you've had for the roofing guy or the home services guy that's stuck at like 3 to 5 million. What do you think the biggest couple levers are that we could do to like push through that plateau?
Yeah, it's stop hoarding money and looking and starting to use money as a tool to invest in the marketing, right? Get more leads, invest into caught it before it rang. Invest into lead generation, invest into your team, hire some salespeople, hire production staff, hire someone to help with business services, right? You're not going to be able to take the distributions that you might be familiar with, but that's how you get to the next level. I mean, I talk to guys doing 3 to 5 million that have like 3 employees, right? Like you can really get away with being pretty lean and making really good margins. And for some people, like stay there, right? Like that's not a bad place to be. But if you want to keep growing, like you got to reinvest into your company and start building out systems and processes, hiring and marketing.
Got it. So you feel like they're maybe just taking every penny out they can, or they're wearing all the hats themselves still?
Yeah, I mean, they're comfortable probably with what they're, with what they're making. And, it really is a decision to like go to that next level, to reinvest into the company and to push to that next, call it 10 million goal.
Yeah. All right. And if you weren't in roofing and waterproofing, any other industries that you have your eyes on, or anything else where you're like, that would be a good space
I
to be in?
really like if I'm staying in home services, I've started to like windows and doors a lot. I think that it's sales and marketing heavy for sure. So, we've kind of got that down pretty good. And then the fulfillment is, if there's a windows and doors guy listening to this and I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But like, I look at it as maybe a little bit more simple to fulfill than doing an entire re-roof and having guys up on the roof, right, tied off, and there's liability in that. So windows and doors has always been something I've kind of been like, would be the worst vertical.
All right. Keep that in mind. We have a client that is closing this week on a window and door business.
Yes.
Like we're post-close accounting, so I'll let you know how it goes. But
please do. Attention. Yeah. Our CMO comes from windows and doors, and he's kind of, he likes the industry as well. He loves roofing a lot too. Though I will say, roofing is a little bit less competition right now. At least he tells me in terms of advertising and whatnot. So.
And you don't want to add that? Like, you see a lot of roofing guys go, okay, exteriors, siding, window. No.
No, and that's very unlike me. I've always been like shiny object, right? Like let's add on solar, let's add on windows and doors, let's go do this. And it's hard for me to stick with one thing, but I've been able to do it. And with our growth, with just roofing, we haven't hit any sort of, we're not stagnant, right? So I don't feel like I need to go add on another vertical. If this is continuing to grow, how it's continuing to grow, why go build out, an entirely new division?
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to do at times, like keep the blinders on, but
oh man, especially when you're on Twitter and you're listening to podcasts and all this, you're like, dang, maybe I should, give it a go. Let's just see how it goes, right? But
where could it be here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome, man. It's amazing to just hear how quickly you've grown it, and how you've got the sales and marketing dialed, and your trajectory these days. So if people want to connect with you online, where's the best place for them to do that?
I've been doing a lot of my business stuff and networking and whatnot on Twitter or X. I think I'm Sam Allsopp, but someone had my username, so I had to. It's Sam _ ALLSOPP_ on Twitter or X.
All right, awesome. We'll link to that in the show notes. And man, thanks for coming on. And we'll have to revisit in a couple of years and see where you're at.
100%. Thanks for having me.